Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Umlink Energy Speaks Back, powered by Harp. My name is Paul Webb. I'm the founder of B2B Energy, and I'm also your host. And weekly, I present to you experts from around the world. Welcome to episode 85, and my special guest today is helping to mitigate climate change and support the global energy transition. Our purpose, as always, is to provide a good understanding of energy management knowledge from around the world, which is available today for us to deliver savings that impact on our planet. On our journey of knowledge sharing, we would like to thank our sponsors, and they are Carbon Black Global for their waste to energy initiatives, Sinofex for their insulation and coating, Smart Cool for their AC initiatives, Umlink, who are taking the confusion out of energy management, Hark Systems, renowned for their energy software, Clean Energy Revolution for their knowledge and their networking through LinkedIn, B2B Energy for their 11-week energy program and helping organizations manage their third largest expense, Alexis Energy for power management, led by Vision for their LED and controls, and Simewatts for their electronics and EV transition. And lastly, our certificate partners, Esther Energy. Our special guest today is an expert in his industry. So without any further ado, I give you Clinton Prophecy. Good afternoon, Clinton, and how are you today?
Paul, I'm splendid, feeling real great. How about you?
Very good. And I'm saying it's good afternoon. I'm not too sure where you are and what your time zone is.
Oh, I'm in West Africa, Ghana, and we are on the Greenwich Meridian time, GMT. So it's currently 2:30 plus here right now, PM.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's quite funny. You're a long way away, but you're level with me, basically, aren't you? It's quite interesting. I've interviewed a lot of people from Africa, and I've always found they're either on the same timeline or slightly different. So that's very interesting, considering how far, 4 or 5 hour flight for us, isn't it?
Yeah. Quite very interesting. I figure maybe God planned it that way for today. to make the timing very easy for us. People saw that one day maybe Clinton is going to have a meeting with Paul. So, let me just align the time of Ghana with that of London, so that things become much more smoother for both of them.
Brilliant. So, Clinton, what's the weather? What's the climate there at the moment? What sort of conditions you got?
Currently it's quite weird because around this time it's not supposed to be, extremely windy. We normally get our rains somewhere June, July, August. That's the first one, and somewhere November, September. Then that's the second season for the rainy season. But then currently you're getting very strong winds and also rain earlier than normal. So, it all boils down to what we have globally right now, the climate change. And, it's very evident, you feel it, you see it, nobody needs to tell you. So it's somewhat humid today. It's not all that sunny and a bit cloudy. Looks like it wants to rain. And I'd say the weather is good. It's good. It's okay.
It's funny. I asked that question of all my interviews because I like to get a feel for exactly what you've just said, the climate difference and the changes we're going through. I've got exactly the same issue in the UK at the moment. So all of a sudden it starts raining. Well, that we have like a raining season in the middle of April where we have what we call April showers, but April showers, we had this last year. It's actually moved into May now. So we're seeing more and more April showers, but in May.
Yeah.
So
it's
not going to be long before. We'll get later. Yeah. They're coming later. So there's a change. I believe that one day we're going to go from 4 seasons to 2 seasons. It's either going to be winter or it's going to be summer.
Yeah, with the current occurrence of events, if things are not done right, we could have something like that.
Exactly.
The circumstances and times are very dark, But it's rather unfortunate that a whole lot of people seem to be dilly-dallying with things. That's not supposed to be done now. We have to be up and about. And, let's just see how it goes. But then I do hope that it's not for the doom, but it's for the better for tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to pick up on those points shortly. The dilly dallying, as you said, the people sort of not making them decisions. So, Clinton, we have met through the clean energy revolution. We're part of that network where we communicate regularly. We share each other's posts on LinkedIn, and we discuss that. So I know of you, and we haven't actually met, but obviously I know of the work you do. So for the benefit of our audience today, can you tell us about your origin story and give some background to yourself?
Okay, sure. Paul, I've always loved nature. Growing up, I've always been close to nature as well. My dad was a chief or a king. So, most often than not, I spent a whole lot of time in our village, the kingdom that my dad rules over. So I got to experience nature firsthand. And, it somewhat influenced the sort of person I grew to become or I've grown to become. And, in it within me has always been the spirit of entrepreneurship as well. I take when I see people do business. And one thing about me is that, I've always loved exotic pets, coming from my love for nature. As a kid,
Yeah.
most kids would opt for either a dog, especially in Africa, either a dog or a cat. But you'd be surprised, I opted for a tawny eagle once. My dad bought it for me. I, I opted for a squirrel once. He got it. I opted for a parrot once. He got it. I opted for a deer, Bambi. Once he
No.
got it. He got it. So I've grown to love animals, and I've grown to love plants as well. But then, I haven't really I these are two things that I love. That is nature and also entrepreneurship. But then it wasn't something that I was able to consolidate together, in that maybe how can I bring the two to bear for the benefit of my society, my country, and also the world at large. Until I met our mentor, Christopher. Christopher is from Canada. He spoke to us on the possibility of developing assets in Ghana and also across the West African sub-region, by extension, Africa in the future. So my curiosity grew stronger. I began to do research into the concept of climate change, and I had a whole lot of damning revelations, and I noticed that with what we plan to do, and the discussions that we have had, it offered, or it still offers, the right blend for my love for entrepreneurship and also nature. Because when we transition towards clean energy, we safeguard the integrity of the planet on which we live. And also, nature is existent on the planet Earth. The plants, the animals, all of us, we are on Earth. You understand? So that's safeguarding nature. And also, we are creating a business around it to sort of create a lot of green jobs, and also employ the teeming youth of this continent, of my country and Africa at large. So it offered the right blend. We decided to work, and then here we are today. And my love for plants also pushed me towards pharmacy. And I was also very good at chemistry. So pharmacognosy, the apothecary, mixing plants, the extractions, getting the drugs and all that. So it's a whole blend for me, and that's just a summary of who I have become today based on my past.
Well, Peanut, I'm going to stop you right there. I want to go back right to the beginning. Your first sentence, you said your father was a king of the
Yeah,
village.
yeah,
So that means that you are a prince, maybe?
yeah, yeah. And my brother is the current king.
Wow. Do you know what? This is a first for this podcast. I've never interviewed royalty before.
Oh,
That is amazing.
yeah,
Tell
yeah.
us a bit about that tradition then. Tell us about that, first of all.
Okay, we have something called stool lands over here in Ghana. The lands of the country do not automatically belong to the state.
Right.
So most often than not, when the state wants to embark on a developmental project, it goes to the traditional authorities, of which the chiefs and are part. I keep on switching between chiefs and kings, because Ghana is a republic. We can't have a king. But
Right.
then, ideally prior they were kings. You understand?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's why I'll keep blending them. But I do hope that your audience understand. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
go against the constitution of my country.
I I don't care what it is because I've interviewed someone of royalty of position.
The stool, the kings are, or the chiefs are the custodian of culture, morality, and also those lands,
Right.
and it's under their custody to be protected. All that exists within it are supposed to be preserved. You understand? You're not supposed to be going destroying things. That there's that rule. You don't just get into the forest, start cutting down trees and stuff like that. And the land is very vast, and sometimes people come ask for land to farm and co. My dad himself ventured into farming at a point in time. So most often when he's going to harvest his tubers of yam, he goes with his tipper trucks. You understand? So it was like an adventure. There was no clear path into the farm, but then the truck was so huge it could sort of get its own path. The tipper trucks are quite heavy, so
Yeah.
and then we go in there, we sometimes cook there, we sometimes get the fresh stuff and then just eat everything there. So it was like a one-on-one, you know, experience with nature. And it's always been like that ever since. The same conditions still exist till now, and even when it comes to mining and all that, the concessions are given to specific areas, and there are certain areas that are no-go zones. They are protected areas because we have certain very rare species over there, so you do not go there. All those things come to play. So it sort of molded my character, you understand, towards nature, because I experienced it firsthand.
Something you mentioned about in the beginning about assets and looking at assets in your country. What are the assets that they were focusing on?
Okay, so Paul, when you come to Ghana currently, when you look at the energy mix, we have hydropower in there. Predominantly, hydropower supplies a lot of energy to our energy mix, for consumption. And we have thermal energy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see, no. I think, let me see, no. I think gas. From hydro, it's gas. And these two dominate. When it comes to, the renewables like solar, wind, we do not have assets, a whole lot of assets in those regards. We have about just less than 1% of um, solar contributing to our energy mix. And wind is we don't have any wind farm or anything of that sort over here. So those are the assets that we are looking at. And also we're looking at biomass as well. So those three, yeah, what we're focusing on for now.
Right. And how far have they enhanced? Where are we with those projects? Have they moved forward very much?
Paul, we have plans in place to get the projects done. We are still working on things, but then we've had a little bit of hitches, if I may put it. Getting the finance, for the company itself and also perhaps the project has been a problem. We've been talking to quite a number of people and also well-meaning organizations, some of which have yielded um, very positive results so far.
Hmm.
Not really concrete though, but then positive results. You don't achieve results overnight. Everything takes time, and then the patience. So I'd say positive, but some have also been an exercise in futility. But then we still continue, pushing on, and then we know that it's going to get better because the world is wide awake now. Yeah.
Yeah. Really. And obviously, you become a pharmacy. When was the transition from pharmacy to what you're doing today regarding, what I see of you? You're like a key person of influence regarding your writing and your knowledge that you're bringing onto the platform of LinkedIn. You're there every day writing articles and presenting facts, stories, and as you say, the challenges of this industry.
Oh, okay. I'd say passion. Passion triggered it. And It happened somewhere 2019 to 2020, about a year ago, or yeah, a year, almost 2 years ago. That's when it happened, and passion did it. I love pharmacy, all right. I still love pharmacy, but
Hmm.
then I love what I'm doing with GPI more. You understand? The passion is there more.
Yeah.
So I would rather like to do what I'm passionate about and do it well, as opposed to something that I just like, but not that much passionate about. When let me quantify it on a scale of 100 in terms of passion. My passion for GPI, it's say 95, and my passion for pharmacy is 75. So you get it. There's a little bit of disparity within the two. So I chose the latter as opposed to the former. I do hope you get it. Yeah.
And what about that last little 5%? Where's that going?
I keep that for myself. The efficiency of a machine is never 100%. So 100 would be too
You're
biased.
just too clear and you're too smart. I just wanted you to, I was looking for I want to give 110% and 70%. I was looking for that, but I like the answer. That's a very good answer.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
So,
Yeah.
Clinton, where do you see the challenges for your country currently in what you're
Mm,
doing?
mm. The challenge is, it's a mirage, it's a plethora. But then I'll be able to point out a few things. I think acceptance, people somewhat gravitate away from things that they are not used to and things that are new. People are scared of change because sometimes they do not understand what the change intends to bring. So, with that being said, I believe with time it's going to get better. But then, as of now, acceptance is an issue. I was watching a documentary the other time, and there was this pastor on telly. They live in a very remote region in Ghana, and they've been able to source for solar power. Um, the panels provide energy to the church. But I heard him say that they are looking for proper electricity from the grid, directly from the electricity company of Ghana. And I asked myself, solar is giving you electricity. It's just the same as what the grid would give you. You understand? So I feel that people do not really understand what the renewables are offering as well. They think renewables are not strong enough, to carry us along, and that somewhat is infringing on the ability for them to accept it. But then, a whole lot of awareness is being created. We've seen major economies across the world powers all shifting towards clean energy, and a whole lot of states, countries demonstrating that the said clean energy can be able or is able to hold us in terms of our energy demands or supply needs. So as others are doing it and it's coming to the uh, 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 it's coming directly for us to see, you tend to see that they would understand and also accept it, as opposed it maybe it being a concept and this is clean energy, we are supposed to transition because of this is practicality, and it's been done elsewhere. So I believe that that is going to change in a few years to come. And also I believe that financing um, is an issue. As I said the other time, you know I just do not get it, but then it's somewhat difficult to get finance over here. Some people, some investors are scared that maybe some African countries have been shaking in the past. They do not have, political stability and all. So they wouldn't risk bringing their money over here. But then when you look at the ecosystem and you also check out the country, a country like Ghana, you'd understand that this is where you're supposed to put your money, the clean energy industry. Ghana offers policy. Okay, so prior to COVID, were projected to be the fastest growing economy
Right.
in the world, and with words such as skyrocketing being used to describe the Ghanaian economy. You understand? So things were solidly on ground. These are things that we ought to look at, and sometimes overgeneralization is not good. It's true. I wouldn't lie that there are
Yeah.
certain areas or certain places in Africa where things are not quite good right now. but
Right.
then that shouldn't be used as a yardstick to judge the entire continent. We can
Yeah.
start from somewhere, we build together, make sure things are done right elsewhere, then we penetrate. It's all geared towards the transition, and it's very prudent that we do it this way.
And have we seen things pick back up to where they were before the pandemic? Are we caught up, or we're still a little bit on a lag?
Yeah, we are still a little bit on the lagging side because prior to the pandemic, we had a growth rate of about 7%, and currently, I think we're projected to grow somewhere 5 to 5.5% by the end of the year. So
Right.
clearly, there's a difference of I think about 2 or 2.5 or 1 point something,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
which is quite significant. So I wouldn't say that things are back to normal. The economy is still struggling, and let's just see how it turns out with time. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure we touched on this before, but what's the prime source of energy in Ghana currently?
The prime source of energy in Ghana is hydropower. Contributes
Right.
a whole lot. Yeah, hydropower, and it's also, it's a tenet or subject to clean energy. But then following it keenly is I think gas
Right.
for electricity generation, and that's not all that clean.
Yeah.
So it's
And
it's rather unfortunate.
do you bring energy in from different countries? Are you linked?
No, Paul, the good thing about my country, Ghana, is that we have infrastructure in place to export power to other neighboring countries.
Oh yeah.
You name it. Ivory Coast, Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, Ghana supplies them electricity. So with anyone coming into the Ghanaian market or with what we seek to do with GPI, you're not just looking at Ghana, you are looking at the entire sub-region as well because there's already infrastructure in place to
Yeah.
export power. Ghana is somewhat positioning itself to be the energy hub of the West African sub-region. Let's take our
Right.
neighbors, Togo. Togo is a splendid country, but then Togo, it's not, doesn't really have certain capacities to, have the kind of resources for energy that we have in Ghana right now. You understand? So Togo relies on Ghana. So what if it gets, and there's one thing about energy. Energy demand is always going to soar because the population growth is always going to increase. You understand? So what if it gets to a point that maybe Ghana is Ghana requires all of its energy and there's none left to be exported. So the energy sector is a sector that requires constant investments and also maintenance of infrastructure. You understand? And it requires constant growth to be able to meet demands. I hope you get it. And the population of Togo is also going to increase as well. So we need to constantly be involving in this industry.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. So that's just about it. And I think prior to the early 2000s and also getting to the late 2000s, we used to get gas supply through the West African gas pipeline from Nigeria. But then Ghana, somewhere 2007, discovered crude oil reserves as well, somewhere in the Western region. So we have got gas supply from the Western region also. We don't get gas from Nigeria again. We are gas independent and we rely on our own gas. Yeah. So that's just the summary of what it is with Ghana when it comes to energy.
And what's the drivers now? Because for me, you seem very resourceful. You've got this infrastructure in place. You've got significant amounts of energy resource there. You've got more enough so you don't have to bring it in, the gas in, etc. What's the drivers regarding driving renewables into Ghana?
Okay, so the drive has to do to a great extent with climate change. You know, I think somewhere last year along the coast of the Volta region, we had this very strong tidal waves that came and destroyed a whole lot of things. It moved, displaced, I think about 3,000 to 5,000 people off where they've always lived. You understand?
Mm.
So and aside that, you could have temperatures, going above that which is supposed to be normal. And this is not something that one would consider a hoax. The authorities, they themselves are not oblivious of the fact that it's real. So the prime push towards clean energy in Ghana is towards is because of climate change. You understand? It's happening and it's real. So that's the fundamental. You understand? And also, when it's like everybody's getting something done, you don't get it done, you'd be left behind. I hope you understand.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, the whole world is transitioning. We know that, okay, fine, clean energy offers immense benefits, benefits such as creation of clean jobs, for the youth. You know, it's much more sustainable long term, and it safeguards the interest of posterity. You understand?
yeah,
So it's only important and great or good that we also do the right thing as well and also transition towards clean energy. And also, our current energy sources, predominantly the fossil fuels, have contributed towards the bad health of many. Air pollution kills a whole lot of people across the globe and even in Ghana, with a major contributing factor being the use of fossil fuels. So why should we continue to kill our own people with something that has been established to not be good or good enough uh, for them? You understand? We are not supposed to be doing that. We are supposed to be going or moving towards things that would safeguard their health as well. With a healthy population, we can work to grow or build this country up. But if we are sick, the youth are sick, we can't grow this country. It's going to be stagnant. So it's a multiplicity of factors, that of which I cannot touch on all, but just this few, for the purposes of time and also a time of your listeners as well, that we do this, a whole lot, a myriad of factors that are accounting for our transition towards the clean energy. So that is on board, on the same page when it comes to the energy transition. And that is rather unfortunate, but, I do believe that with time, we are going to wake up to the realities of the times that we are in now.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's just a summary. I always encourage divergent views, or I'm not someone that is, fixated on things. Knowledge is ever dynamic and ever evolving. If you're fixed or you have a fixed mentality when it comes to so many things, you'd become, quote unquote, a mummy. You'd be left in the past. Initially, we thought our solar system had only 9 planets. Today, we have more than 9 planets. We have exoplanets as well. Today, we understand that we have a whole lot of galaxies that form the universe. And there's a possibility of having parallel universes as well. So knowledge is ever changing and ever evolving. So as a result of this, I'm very open to criticism. I'm open to constructive criticism. I'm always open to listening to divergent views, because it is out of these that you bring about something that is close towards perfection. If you do not have people critique what you're doing, if you don't have the patience to listen to the opinions of other people, whatever you bring out might not stand the test of time. Because it is out of these criticisms that you tend to find the flaws and you correct them, for future sake. So I'm always open to criticism. And I do appreciate the arguments that some of them come with, you know. Some of them come with the environmental issues as regard lithium and all that. And you'd notice that when they bring them out, solutions are professed and the right things are being done. We should not build this industry in a haste such that we do not get things right from the scratch. Obviously, we cannot get everything right from the scratch 100%, but these divergent views are going to, to a great extent, shape what we are doing now, such that tomorrow is better off than would have been done without the said views. Yeah.
Good point. Very good point. What we're at that stage of the interview. I told you it would go quick, didn't I?
Mm.
We're at that stage of the interview where I would like you to see if there's something that you could give back to our audience today as a takeaway.
The issue of climate change is not one that is, one that concerns a select few. So far as you live on the planet Earth and you are of the species um, um, Homo sapiens, you ought to be concerned, because if the boat is sinking, we are all sinking together. So someone might say, "Oh, all these climate folks, oh, I'm not concerned. Oh, I don't care. I'm going to continue doing things as I used to do it." It's a lie. If if the hardships come, if the sufferings come, we are all in it together.
Yeah.
So everybody has to do his or her bit, towards the transition and also towards the acceptance of clean energy. We have to mind our ways. We have to somewhat check our carbon footprint. We have to check what we eat. To a great extent, it's not only good for our health, it's not only good for the planet, but it's also good for our health as well. You know, and we are all in this together. So it's something that we should all embrace and work towards. It's not supposed, or it's not something that is for a select few, because it concerns you, it concerns I, and we are all supposed to be concerned. So we have to come together to get it done. And also, I would urge patience and tolerance. It's called an energy transition for a reason. We cannot flip a finger and things are done in the split of a second or in the twinkle of an eye. We are transitioning. But with this being said, it doesn't mean that within the transitional period, we do not get things right and get things rolling or do the right things. Because the time that we have, or the time frame that we have to get things done, is quite short. So we have to appreciate the fact that this is a transition and we are working within the transition, building the necessary assets in order to transition within time. But it's not going to happen with in the twinkle of an eye or by the swinging of a magic wand. It doesn't work that way. These are the realities of on ground, and then we have to appreciate it and embrace it more. And so that's just about it. And also, Paul, um, uh, can I add something to a question asked earlier? Or it's okay.
Of course you can.
Okay, so regarding our transition towards clean energy, I forgot to put this across. The use of fossil fuels is costly as opposed to clean energy. So we saw what happened quite recently when Ukraine was invaded by Russia.
Mhm.
We are still experiencing its impact over here in terms of the cost of fuel.
Yep.
It's very expensive, and I saw earlier on today that the prices are going to increase again.
Yeah.
Fuel, gas, and all that, it's going to increase again.
Hmm.
But clean energy is not dependent on these fluctuations because it's cheaper, you understand, and it's derived directly from nature. Tell me one country where the wind doesn't blow. Tell me one country where the sun doesn't shine. You understand? It's something that we all have, so you cannot
I
hold
do want to
somebody back.
answer that question, Clinton. I do want to answer
Okay,
that question.
okay,
The
answer it.
UK has been struggling with wind and sunshine in the summer. We had a bit of a lag on the wind and the sun, but we've caught up with it now. But it does have its peaks and troughs. But
Yeah,
I get exactly what you're saying. Each
yeah,
country has its
yeah.
own.
You have something, and
Yeah,
Paul. I do appreciate the fact that the winds are not strong enough to turn the turbine sometimes,
yeah,
but then you would bear witness with me that immediately you step outside, you are still going to feel some fresh air, rushing down your body, and it's fine. That's the
yeah,
wind right there, still there.
yeah, yeah.
You
Exactly.
understand? So we over here in Ghana are on the trajectory of industrialization. We want to industrialize and industrialize well. Wouldn't it be good if we all our industries? That would make us a whole lot competitive on the international market. I
Hmm.
hope you understand. And also for regular consumers, it's going to be cheaper as well. So people tend to save more as opposed to what we have now. So all these are factors that are, pushing, or are some factors. Obviously, I can't say it all. There are some of the factors that are pushing towards S transitional. And the government does appreciate the fact that we are supposed to do this. So prior to 2030, according to the Renewable Energy Master Plan 2019, the government seeks to shore up the penetration of clean energy into the energy mix by at least 10%. And emphasis on at least. In mathematics, when you say at least, it means that it can be exactly that or more. So that means that the government is looking at clean energy, contributing a chunk to our energy supply. I hope you understand this, and it's good that this has been acknowledged by the government, because it points to the fact that they appreciate and understand what is supposed to be done. So that's just about it, Paul.
And that is going to really drive the economy, isn't it? It's going to bring
Yeah,
costs down. It's going
yeah,
to
bring
help
costs down.
organizations
Yeah,
deliver the products.
yeah, exactly. It's a whole lot. The ripple effect is it's massive. You
Yeah.
understand? It goes to great extent. I'm very glad that you appreciate this point, Paul.
Yeah.
It goes to great extent. Some people might not see it from this angle, but that's the reality on ground, and it's good for the economy of Ghana. Yeah.
I wrote an article last year and I plotted the cost of bread for
Mm,
a simple loaf of bread. And it was
mm,
unbelievable how that troughed up,
mm,
started peaking up
mm,
and then troughed down. Um, it it was interesting to see. Now I can look at that graph now today, and I can
mm.
guarantee that's going up in the upward
Ah,
flow because of this
yeah,
crisis we're going through.
yeah,
Not only because of manufacturing's cost is more expensive, but the price of products, that we're going to have
yeah,
to
yeah.
buy for those ingredients as such.
Y-
Everything
Yeah,
has a price and everything goes up.
yeah, everything goes up, and to a great extent, this is being fueled by what we have now, the current energy sources that we have. Almost everything needs energy. In fact,
Yeah.
the energy is the backbone of economies across the world. Manufacturing, anything at all, you need energy. Even the phone I'm using now, I had to charge it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we are sort of quote unquote energy junkies now. I love you use that word. We all are energy junkies because we require energy to do everything that
Yeah.
the sort of civilization that we have built now
And I don't
requires
know
energy.
whether you've picked up on my posts and bits and pieces, but energy is our third largest expense after people and after
Mm,
properties. And then
mm,
if you look at that in business,
mm,
definitely, you could also apply that to your residential life. You know,
mm.
you pay significant amounts of money for your house you live in, and then
Yeah,
you pay for the people that live in it.
yeah, that's true. To a great extent, that's true. And when you juxtapose that with clean energy, right? It's evident and then it's clear.
Mm.
People can mount the panels on top of your buildings, and even have the feed-in tariffs in place and sell back power to the government. Now, instead of you spending huge amounts of money or cost on the energy you consume, you're rather selling energy off and getting money. What more could be better than that? You understand? So it's what the world finds itself in now, the times within which we find ourselves now, is going to determine the kind of future that we have tomorrow. And I am very certain when I say that if we do not get the right things done now, future generations are going to look back and be really pissed and annoyed at us. So it's right that we do the right things now,
Exactly.
to safeguard tomorrow. Yeah.
Look, Clinton, it was really great catching up with you.
Sure.
I'm pleased that I feel as though we've been chatting anyway many times because we have a little bit of chat on LinkedIn or on our
Yeah.
post or in the
Yeah.
messaging. So it's really great to finally meet you. It'd be perfect to meet you face to face one day. I'm sure the
Sure.
Clean Energy Revolution team will one day meet face to
Yeah.
face. One day, I don't know how that would work, but
Yeah.
in the meantime, Clinton, you and your family, please be safe in these times.
Sure. Sure. Thank you so much. You as well, Paul. Be safe, and then The times are there, and I wish you well. Thanks for having me so much on this program, this highly esteemed program. I'm most grateful and I'm humble. Thank you.
Brilliant. You're very welcome. You take care.